Alright folks, here we are immediately where we left off in the last video. We're reassembling the WeTech 1911. We're going to start off with the frame, as we just finished with. You're going to take your trigger here. There'll be a slight downward curve to one side. If I can catch that on the camera there. Whoa. That goes, the bottom of the slope goes down as we insert here. So as the trigger comes in, it kind of lies flush with all the angles inside here. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. Next comes the disconnect bar, which, as I showed you, goes in here and up into the little slot there. Sits in there nicely like that. And the sear comes in like this and sits on top of the disconnect bar. And the little hole that there's a loop in the disconnect bar that you'll see that outlines that hole kinda. So if I got that right on camera, you can kinda see it there. So now there's that. Hammer just kinda goes right over on top of everything on its little post there. Make sure it's not sitting on top of the sear. Now, this was the tricky part here. The hammer mechanism, or the trigger mechanism, the firing pin mechanism, whatever you want to call it here. This comes in, and we're going to set it in just on top of where it goes. It won't slide in all the way. Remember, we tightened that screw down. So, with some pressure from the top here by this finger, pressure downward, we're going to slightly loosen up that screw that we tightened before. It shouldn't need much over what we took to put it in. A little bit of wiggling. We should fit down once that's in there properly. Tighten that screw back down so we're sitting back. Whoa! So we're sitting back in there properly. Now, we have a small Phillips hanging around from before. Goes back into this hole. And down. Okay. Back here, we're going to flip this bar up on the hammer. Flip that up that way while holding the gun down. Leaf spring just sets on top of everything in there. The tips don't go in on top of anything. Don't go in under anything. It just sits on top. Hits into this little notch here. Fold this down. Beaver tail. Set that on top. Make sure everybody's holding firmly in place here. I'd recommend flipping the gun upside down because that bar that's on the hammer goes into a notch here in the middle of the beaver tail. You'll see it when you're in here. Take the mainspring, slide it on there, push it down, hold some pressure to it. There we go. We're going to take our pin, holding pressure down so the pin sits in there nice and evenly. Pin is in. Now, to make sure you put it together correctly, you should have hammer action. Locking there, locking there. Okay. Ooh, hey, I missed this. You're supposed to do this when you put the trigger in so it does not fall all over the place. There you can put the mag release back in there now. Set it in clockwise on the screw. Spring loaded. Should stay. Sorry about that. Next is, yes, we're at the safety. Okay, if you don't remember how your safety came apart, this tube here, we had this piece, this little guy here, skinny all the way down, fat at one end. Skinny end goes into the tube first, followed by the spring, followed by our second plunger. This guy, that little tip goes into the tube first. And you'll notice, I hope, that you're kind of sticking out here a little bit. Hammer back. We're going to insert our safety. Obviously, we're not going to go on properly because that's sticking out there. So, holding down on the safety, we push that little thing down. We wiggle the beaver tail until it sets in there so that the plunger is holding the safety down. From this point, we can put our other safety on from the other side and proceed with grip panels. One side. Yeah, you might want to skip a couple minutes ahead here. I'm not going to be fast forwarding this in the final video, so unless you just want to watch me put screws in for a couple seconds here, you might want to skip ahead and go on the slide next. Grip slides over here. Basically, we're going to take our complete blowback unit here. Fits on there, nice and snug. Set our sight in before the blowback unit gets all the way up in there. Take my little screw here. Set it back in my sight. Torx wrench. Torx, well, Allen screw. Okay. Get everybody back together here. There's that. Barrel goes back in the front. Right back down. My guide rod kind of goes back in here a little funky. Two halves back together. And again, like I said in the first video here, silicone lube the whole way would not go unappreciated by your gun. There you have it. Successful takedown of your WeTech or similar 1911 gas pistol. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed. See you next time.